Hi, everyone. Well, a word about the visas first. So I'm here, which is fantastic, and I'm so grateful to Jemra and to Jean and the whole team who made so much happen to get that visa, and of course honored to be talking with you all today. Travel, the exchange of ideas, of ingredients, the movement of people, this, as Claudia has said, is what makes food today what it is. And when our politicians forget this, perhaps for silly reasons, I think we as the culinary community need to remember it. So thank you for having me here today. So I'm going to talk to you about MAD and this nonprofit organization that was founded by René Redzepi. The chefs at Noma, like so many of you, are full of creativity. They push themselves to create new circumstances, to find new inspiration, and to grow as a team every single day. They also love to share what they do with guests, with people in the industry, and the general public. And that's why René created MAD, this nonprofit organization that could be dedicated to this type of improvement, this type of curiosity, an organization that could harness the knowledge that was gained at Noma or in the industry and share it with the broader public, all with the purpose of making the world a better place. A nonprofit that would give the restaurant industry the time and space to explore issues beyond the challenges that grab their attention every day in the kitchen. So if you're wondering about our funny name, MAD means food in Danish. But we like the double play on words, right? That it's a little bit angry, a little bit wildly obsessed, because that's what we try to bring to our work, a real passion. So regularly we put on this 2-day symposium that Mehmet mentioned, and we try to bring together some of the best minds in food and then share everything we learn, much as is happening today at YEDİ, on our video archive. So you might see Massimo Bottura talking about creativity, or Angela Di Mayuga from Mission Chinese talking about opening a restaurant, or David Chang on fermentation. The network of people, of chefs in MAD includes 50 different countries. Next year, we'll be putting out a publication called Dispatches, and that first issue is going to be about this question we hear, this theme we hear coming up even today about migration. So today I'm going to focus on one of the projects we've been working on called Vildmad. And Vildmad means wild food. Wild ingredients, of course, have been possibly the greatest source of inspiration at Noma. And now we have an opportunity to share that. So I'm going to tell you a little story. And part of this is Noma's story, but it will tell you how we got here. So if you've been to Scandinavia, you might know that it is maybe a more bleak and more cold part of the world. Noma opened with a vision of serving incredible food from local ingredients. And this really flew in the face of culinary tradition, right? Regions that were known for their food, France, Italy, Spain, Turkey, Japan, they had a rich and storied cultural tradition that Scandinavia didn't necessarily have. It was a region where food was built for vitality, for maintenance of life, not necessarily for pure joy. Some people say that's about the climate. Some people say it's the Protestant work ethic that said we shouldn't take any pleasure in food. It is, of course, the region that gave us the story of Babette's feast. So to be successful, Noma would need to move beyond the traditional Scandinavian winter staples, onions, leeks, 60 different types of cabbages. Almost in desperation, the team sought out ingredients from wild and uncultivated landscapes. That was the starting point for new traditions, new flavors, new stories. Coming from busy New York City, I've come to a new view of Scandinavia. Imagine there's 25 million people, twice as much as the population of Istanbul, I believe, spread out over 7 different countries. So it's an incredibly varied landscape. There's immense tracts of cultivated land, wild forests, and everything in between. And exploring that landscape was a great discovery. And of course, that gave rise to the story we've heard, that Noma was this foraging restaurant. Now, foraging is nothing new. It's as old as time and the way most of our ancestors ate. But the chefs and foragers were working together, did rediscover flavors that we never thought we would have in that part of Europe. And that was the revelation. I'm going to press play on this. Let's see what happens. Yeah, just so you can see this. There are many examples of the surprises of foraging, like on my first visit to Denmark, harvesting pine shoots that taste like the white part of a grapefruit, or picking up an ant from a hill and like popping it in my mouth to discover it tasted more like lemongrass than anything else. And that taste connected me to a place and to a specific moment in time. It was this different kind of discovery that took us almost by surprise, that we were learning a new sense of urgency and responsibility to nature. It gave us a new vision for how to treat the earth and an ethic of care that infuses every aspect of life. So this is how we got to creating Vilmel, this project that MAD has spent the last 2 years creating. The basic premise is simple. Everyone in the world should know the landscape, that knowing your ABCs in nature, the flora and fauna, the patterns of the landscape, and the rhythm of the seasons is as important as knowing how to read and write. This is a conference about extinction. Our human connection to nature is going extinct, or at least is in danger of that. There was a study that researchers did at Cambridge University, and they were trying to understand what do British children know about the landscape. And they asked them, they made flashcards, that sort of simple tool we've all had, and there were 100 images of common wildlife, 100 images of Pokemon Go characters. And you all know how this went, right? The 8-year-olds were much better at identifying Pokemon Go characters than they were common wildlife, like oaks or beavers. And this was before Pokemon Go was launched, right? This was just so. So we really need, I think, to think of a healthy relationship and healthy children as a rare species almost. So we didn't set out at MAD to sort of correct this, but we just wanted to share something that interests us. And it makes us even more enthusiastic to see that our experience has other relevance and might change this relationship to the land for children. So in collaboration with more than 100 people, chefs, foragers, teachers, scientists, academics, designers, user experience creators, we have created this program for Denmark, and it can be used in most of Scandinavia. It has 3 different parts. So first, there's a tool for reading the landscape and decoding its culinary potential. And it's an app in both English and Danish. So we're using technology to introduce people to nature. And you can download it for free. It gives you different landscapes, different plants in those landscapes in every season. And until now, I would say that most knowledge of wild plants has been stored in the minds of individuals and often kept in 2 categories, the medicinal and the botanical. But now we have chefs and foragers collaborating and making this resource available to everyone, to include them to just taste a bit, to pick something, just enough to cook, and to really share it with their community. So this app gets you moving, it gets you outdoors, and it gives you, hopefully, a feeling of wonder. And I think this is a time in the world when we really need that sense of wonder. The second component is a curriculum designed for school children in Denmark. What if our kids were able to stroll through the forest and pluck things as they do off the shelf in the supermarket? We believe that if children are raised with the understanding of what's growing around them, then they will start to protect it, right? We protect and we tend to the things we love. And that is the ethic we're trying to build with children. Last, the guided foraging workshops are something we created all over Denmark. So we trained 50 rangers, and I think probably forest rangers in every country might wear the same outfit, pants that hold multiple, pockets of knives and tools, and yeah, I see nods, right? But we've trained these 50 rangers from all over the country, and they offer workshops, often for free, so that people can come out, learn to identify plants with an expert, and then be taught how to cook those. And so they're teaching that and how you take care of nature while you're foraging. So we're really excited to launch this. And right now, about 38,000 people have downloaded the app and You know, we believe one of the biggest problems with the food system around the world is that they're built on harmful values, values that overlook the land and the hands that provide what we eat. So there are no recipes for building a new value system that we know of, but we think one of the building blocks is connection to where our food is from and how it gets to our plates. This won't surprise anyone in this room, but changing the value system for food by teaching these principled practices from childhood is one way to plant the seeds of a revolution. We must become agents of our own continued existence. MAD's ambition is that Vilmel will serve as a model in Denmark. We hope that our program can be an inspiration for others to do the same in different countries and cultures, where the questions we've asked ourselves take on interesting and different relevance. Just imagine how the world would look if we were all foragers. So, thank you.